Derek Attico is an author and photographer who has spent years making a name for himself in the world of science fiction. He has twice won the Strange New Worlds contest for his stories set in the Star Trek universe.
Well, for one, it's an honor to be able to do anything. To do a sentence for Star Trek is an honor. Secondly, I would say it's something that whenever I am allowed to do it, I do with great care and with great caution, because you are in essence playing in someone else's sandbox. So you have to understand that, and you have to say, if I'm doing that, how am I going to do that? How am I going to approach that? What am I going to take? What is Derek going to take and impart to Star Trek? What is he going to leave? But also, not only what am I going to leave, what am I going to hopefully give to the next writer?
With so much experience in the Star Trek universe, what new project is Derek working on?
One of my latest works that I'm working on is actually a new role-playing game. We're trying to create a game that is, I would say, has more of a narrative slant and doesn't rely and lean on some of the tropes that we are accustomed to in role-playing. For example, strength, dexterity, agility, those things are not in what we're creating. I really can't tell you what is in what we're creating, but it is something that challenges the players to think differently about their characters. It engages them in a narrative from character creation all the way through to play, and it considers all different types of people, all different types of individuals, and hopefully gives them an experience that will be rewarding from start to finish, and give them hours and hopefully hours and hours of gameplay. That's something that I'm currently working on, and that won't be finished probably until 2020, sometime in 2023.
When writing, what method does he prefer?
Well, that's the age-old question, right? With writers, you know, they're plotters or pantsers. I've always been a person that plots and outlines. For me, I try and tell large, intricate stories, stories that involve the ordinary person, but in extraordinary situations and events. So for that, at least for me, it has to be outlined. And I don't outline, for example, I will know where I'm starting, I'll know where I'm finishing. Sometimes I'll outline chapters, and once I outline the chapter, I won't delve into what happens in every chapter, because I want there to be some spontaneity, but I like to have a roadmap in every section to know where I'm going. Now, there are times that I will just fly the seat of my pants, like everyone else, or like those pantsers, and see where it goes. Those times, though, it's difficult for me to write a story, because I like to have some kind of structure and order. The stories that I've written like that have been fun, but they've been a little bit arduous and stressful, because I feel like I'm trying to create a plane while in flight, and that's never fun, especially if you have passengers with you along the way. So outline, at least for Derek, an outline is always recommended. And I think what's also best about an outline is if you get into the middle of a story and you see it's not working, the outline can show you what isn't working. You can always change it in the middle. If you're pantsing, then you really don't have any direction, or you really can't see what you were doing. With the outline, you can see what your mindset or what your line of thought was beforehand.
Even with an outline to follow, are there times when Derek suffers from writer's block? And what does he do to move past it?
One of my mentors was Dennis O'Neil, the famous comic book writer. I took a class with him on how to write for comics. And I was fortunate enough that he allowed me to take the class for free a second time with him. And he and I just talked a lot about what it takes to be a writer, not necessarily a comic book writer, but just a writer. And one of the pieces of advice that he gave me was that when you're hitting a wall, there's a reason, right? So if I'm having writer's block, there's a reason. Possibly it's something that's not right in that scene or with that character, or sometimes it may be something that's not right with me. Sometimes it's just as easy as taking a walk. Sometimes taking a half hour and having a conversation with someone else, or what I like to do is do something totally different. So if I'm working on something that's science fiction, maybe I'll work on something like I'm doing a piece on the Crusades, so I'll totally switch up and do that. Or maybe I'll just watch a half-hour show, or maybe I'll watch the news, or maybe I'll just have a conversation. Maybe I'll do something just totally different. And usually it's just a matter of time away from the thing that allows you to see the thing from a different perspective.
For the budding author, Derek gives this advice.
I would say, one is that it doesn't matter where you are in your place in life. I think if you decide that you want to start writing, writing is a journey, and we are all on different paths of that journey. Whether you're just starting, whether you're a New York Times bestselling author, we're all on different strands of that same path. Read writers that you like, but if in your travels and journey of reading, if you found writers, that you don't like, read them as well. Find what it is about them you don't like, because who you don't like will inform and can inform your writing just as much as who you do like. And what's happening when you start to look at things that you don't like, you start to open yourself as to why you don't like them. And that actually does make you a better reader, a better writer, because you start to understand that something that may not work for you as a writer did work for the other writer, even though you don't like them, and you start to understand their tools even if you don't use those tools. So read someone that you like, read someone that you don't like, understand those differences, and that will, I think, and hopefully will help you become a better writer as well. Do what you're going to do for yourself, and when you feel you've written to a place where you want to put that out in the world, do it, but first do it first and foremost for yourself. And I think if you do something first and foremost for yourself, that's from a genuine place. And if you're doing something from a genuine place, no one can say that that's wrong. If anything I can say today motivates anyone, just please go out there, read, write, turn this off and get to it. Because that's what's important. Get to it, do your own thing, and you will be rewarded in what you do.
Baltimore County Public Library met up with Derek at the Shore Leave Convention in Hunt Valley, Maryland. For more information about upcoming events, go to their website at www.shore-leave.com.